if you could maybe share with your own experiences of having worked across different countries, cultures, have you ever found such deviations, like maybe in a similar situation, men behaving differently, women behaving differently, and you think it is anything to do with the culture, either of the organization or of the country that they are from?
Shall I have it? Generally, answer is no. I think of course, we have different societies. I think the way women and men can thrive in any organization is the tone at the top. It's the leadership at the top. And the board set the tone. Our leadership, our CEO sets the tone, and the leadership at that organization. That creates, in my mind, the ability for men or females to thrive at the best version of themselves. And I think our role as leaders, even if we're in this described country, a tight country, which I guess might be, I guess China might be a tight country, I guess Germany might be, loose countries could be, I just guess it's probably the US. But in a way, an organization, again, if you think about what we're here for, it's our output. And in a way in which each company in a country has to build its own values. And the values that we demonstrate on a daily basis will set that opportunity for every individual, including women, to thrive at their best or not. And that level of engagement and that level of, I guess, affection for our people and the affection back from our people to the company is going to be the make or break of being successful. A small example, we here at Motor Corp, going back maybe it's 9 months ago, we obviously have our values and they're really important to us, but do they really show up every single day? And one of the things which we did just very simply, we asked 22,000 people to decide what color. In fact, we did it a year ago on Holi, because obviously Festival of Colors. We actually got 22,000 people to choose which color represents our value. And everybody knows, I don't have a color on today's, but I mean, red is passion, white is integrity. And that allows a very simple way of a common language to talk about when behavior is good and when behavior is not good. We can talk about it very simply across the whole organization. So I think the answer is it really stems from what the organizational tone is at the leadership level.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, there is a framework, I mean, you have all these psychometrics and organizational frameworks which you constantly refer back to. And on the face of it, it seems like tight cultures would have difficulty challenging status quo. So they would typically fall back into set systems and be comfortable. And right now, over the past several years, women have found it difficult to break through these set systems. So in that sense, yes, it could. But even in those, like today we heard stories of automotive, and what can be more male-dominated in the manufacturing industry than automotive? And in those companies today, you have leaders, like we had Mr. Chaba in the morning, saying that, look, I say 30%, and now I'm willing to hike it up to 50%. And and suddenly things start falling in place. Because there is a will, there is a strategy, and there is a validation from the bottom. Because you know that it adds value to the company, it adds profitability. So everything seems to point in the direction that it's the right thing to do, and it's not a charitable thing to do. So I think if you were to analyze it post-ante and say that, look, this company did it because of a tight culture, you may be able to, as a researcher, point out and say the theory works. But I think the truth is in the details, that at the end of the day, like he said, it's do we have a justification to do that? Is there a pull effect? And is the company or the head of the organization or the country, like our Prime Minister has started this Jan Dhan, where he's supporting women to get money in their hands. And that's a very clear articulation of something that he wants to do to empower women, because he knows that although a woman is valued very much at home, but the minute she earns something, her self-esteem shoots up, her respectability in the family shoots up, and adds to that, you know, the entire picture becoming more powerful. And so, you know, it's from the top, the direction that's coming, and it's being carried through. So I think frameworks are great, but unless there is a will to push it through, it will stay a theory.
Last, I've got a queue, 5 minutes, point taken. A very difficult.
That was just the first queue of 5 minutes. We've got, I think we get 3. Don't worry about that.
A very difficult question.
I think you wanted to say something.
I did, if you don't mind, because we're going to get another 5, I can tell. The tone at the top is key, but it's also sometimes the shadow of the leader doesn't get all the way down the organization. And when you're in, I guess, different parts of the world where there are different levels of diversity, it's the fact. And here in India, I mean, it's not where we want it to be. It's in a journey. And I think as long as every organization is on that in great intent, it's a great direction. But you have to nudge it. And I think that's why over-indexing is key. And one of the things at International Women's Day, we actually launched, because we brought all of the ladies from around NCR, it was about 250 for this event. We launched our network. And this is where the stories that are told, that are difficult stories that people come across, they can share those stories. And they can learn from those stories. They can take strength from that network. And I think that's an important part of leadership at the top sets the tone, but it can't go all the way down the organization. And we need that network at the same time to cut across the organization and help people to be the very, very best version of themselves. And I just wanted to share that as well.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thanks. Just one last question, and I think slightly tricky question. You both are leaders of organizations, and you deal with people from across different countries and cultures. Whenever you are to choose an individual to lead a project, what are the kind of things that you would seek in a person? And maybe have you ever faced situations where you thought that probably a male would be better than a female, or vice versa, to lead this project?
Okay, no, I've never, okay, I don't believe, I can't say I'm ever perfect, but I don't believe when I'm looking for leadership, I'm looking at the person and what they are, what they look like. I'm always looking at what they can deliver. And one of the things I would say is any successful leader that I've come across, and I think we've talked a little bit about it, there's 3 things I kind of look for, is can that person listen for understanding? And we know women can. And man can get better at it. I also look at, are they courageous? So will they take risks? Will they challenge the status quo? And that's an important thing to get things done. And then the last thing I look for anybody that's going to do something special is, can they prioritize? Because you've got to make sure that what you're working on is the most important, I call them blue chips, the significant few, to get things done. And I know that women in leadership roles, they can do all of that, and so can men. And I think the answer to an organization, when we're looking for the best of the best, that's what we got to look at, and that's how I would select the best person to deliver a key project.
Yeah, I too don't look at a gender-specific portfolio or a profile. But I think when I'm looking at qualities in a team member to lead, the one thing I always look for is, can they carry people with them? You know, because at the end of the day, all things being equal, what differentiates is, can you carry people? And particularly when you're working across geographies, like I do, Germany and India, we love to hear in different forums that we're very similar. Ha ha, we're extremely different, right? I mean, uh, from the smallest thing to how we believe, we are polarized, right? I mean, Germans want everything perfectly organized 6 months in advance. And here in India, if I ask someone, to tell me something 6 months in advance, they laugh at me like, are you serious? I mean, I don't even know where I'll be in 6 months. So so dealing with these kind of polarized things, I need somebody who can understand, be empathetic, not be judgmental about why that person is saying something, but actually believe that, okay, this is a task, it needs to be done, and I just do it. And in that respect, I have to say, I have seen many times and observed this, and I hope it is the case, that I find women are more, they have tensile strength. You know, they can really carry a job to the final end, and they don't break easily. But some of my younger male colleagues just give up and say, gosh, he's so difficult, you know, he wants everything in a certain way. And so I find that sometimes women tend to be empathetic, more empathetic, because they understand the differences. They deal with, in a home, you deal with 5 people, and you're the centerpiece of the family. So obviously you're carrying a lot of people with you, and they carry that into the workplace. But they really have a lot of tensile strength. They really are able to take harder deadlines, more difficult situations. And so I always want to have a woman in my team, you know, in every small group, whether that person is the leader or not. But having her kind of balances all these tempers when they're flying around, it really helps.
I call out the fact that women have a greater task on balance. And we've heard some of those stories today, and it's really worth to recognize the fact that what women in key leadership positions have to do is harder than in general. I'm generalizing a little bit, but I think I can allow to do that, than men. But I also, so we have to recognize that. And I think there are also men that have to balance too. So I think it's not all one way, and I think we have to recognize the fact that there is a balance in both ways. I mean, if I give you my balance for a second, I'm not looking for any tears here, but I mean, okay, I've got 2 roles. I have children in France. I have a wife that I have to balance here in India. And so my balance is I've got to find a way of giving everything to the company to find my moments to go back to France to love my kids. And at the same time, you know, to make sure that I can be here now when I come home every night to listen to my wife's stories. So I think we also have to recognize that balance happens both ways, but we have to over-index on women because clearly that's not where we want it to be, and equity is not where we want it to be, and we've got to do better.
Great. I think so. What is loud and clear in the hall is that leader is a leader. Right? Leader with the capability to drive people along, to motivate people, to push them, is probably, maybe the research would say better, little more feminine, maybe little more aligned to effective leadership skills. But what is very clear, and to all the girls who are convocating today, right, leader is a leader. Just believe in your spirit, believe in yourself. Gender is absolutely nothing. Just have the drive. And I think Anandi very beautifully said, there is within you that power to spark and make this world a better place. With that, we call it a day. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. Oh, yes. We have time for questions?
I think we got 15 minutes for questions.
Just one question. One question. So, my name is Deepika. I'm from an industry which is, I'm from the corporate world, which is not really present here. My question is more towards the 2 ladies, but Mike, you can answer as well if you wish to. When I started working and when I became the head of an office, I was the first country head in Bangladesh in my industry. I set up the Marks and Spencer's sourcing there in 2006. I used to try very hard to bring women into my team because Bangladesh was even more gender specific, gender, you know, women were not so much in the fore at that time, even today perhaps, although it's come a long way. The question I have is that I always felt all over South Asia, all over Asia, I felt women are either looked up to or looked down upon. As a leader, I felt that very, very clearly, that professionally, I was looked up to. But if somebody didn't know what I did, if I was in a social context somewhere, there could be, I could be looked down upon, or I could be just, never treated as an equal. And I'm not saying that just for myself. I feel that when I see women around me as well. Either you're the one who's putting the family together and hence not important enough, although that's a huge role, or you're this person who's right on the top of the ladder and hence you're looked up to. What do you think about this? Sorry, that was a long question.
I'll just say this, that as women, we should not spend too much time second guessing what men think of us, what the society thinks of us. I think we just give it too much attention, And when I was 29, I was heading a German organization here, and I had men who were in their 50s. And the first couple of times when I walked in and I took the charge, they had this incredulous look on their face, and it was almost like an accusation that, what are you doing here, right? And initially I would get intimidated by that, but then I said, if I'm going to allow them to intimidate me, then I can't do my job. And I'm here because of my qualities, my capability. I'm not going to let them start to interfere with that. And that has served me very well throughout my life. Wherever I've gone, if people ask me, how do you feel being in a R&D, which is a male-dominated field, I said, so what? I've never given it too much of thought. I genuinely haven't. So my request to all of the young girls coming out today, don't let the system bother you too much. I genuinely feel women are empowered. They don't need more empowerment. The system needs empowerment. The system needs correction. And we all have to, men and women have to correct the system instead of trying to address ourselves as the center of focus. So that would be my response to you.
In summary, cross-cultural perspectives on women in leadership provides a valuable lens to explore the challenges, opportunities, and complexities of gender and leadership in diverse cultural contexts. By acknowledging and understanding these perspectives, we can work towards creating more inclusive and equitable leadership opportunities for women across the world. May I please invite Professor Anirban Chakrabarti, Dean Research, in front of the stage to present the mementos to the panel members as a token of our love and gratitude. With this, we have come to the end of our panel discussions. A very warm regards to all the panelists and the moderators. The presence of women in leadership is a positive force for change, and the impact of their leadership is felt far beyond the boardroom. With more women taking on leadership roles, we can look forward to more equal and prosperous future. With this thought, we would like to invite Professor Niharika Vora to summarize the panel discussion and show us the way forward. Professor Vora is a specialist in behavioral science and is currently working as professor in organizational behavior area at IIM Ahmedabad. Holds extensive experience with the corporate sector as an independent director, consultant, coach, and a mentor. has been involved with large number of top companies in executive education, has served as chairperson of IIM Ahmedabad's doctoral program and editor of Vikal, has published over 70 peer-reviewed research papers in top-level international and national journals, and authored 3 books. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. I have the most difficult task of trying to put everything together. Because it was so exciting and so interesting to listen to all the conversations. And in trying to even put any of this together in 10 minutes is not only, I think, an impossible task, but it also does injustice to the richness of the conversations that were there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take up a few things that I heard, and I'm going to amplify them for maybe all of us to look forward as we go along. So the first thing I think is, for far too long we have asked the question, is there a difference between men leaders and women leaders? Are women leaders better? Do they bring something else to the table that men leaders don't? I think we really need to move away from that question. Good leaders are good leaders, and they come in all shapes, all genders, all colors, everything. And I think the fact is that leadership is not something that you're born with. You need to learn it. And irrespective of whether you are a man or a woman, irrespective of whether you are young or old, irrespective of whether you are one color or the other, individuals have to learn leadership skills. And we will make mistakes. Each one of us will make mistakes when we take on leadership. And I think the ability to learn from those mistakes, the ability to prepare ourselves for leadership roles, the ability to learn what I need to do once I get there so that I'm successful, may be interesting for us to talk about. And I think the only thing that might be different in gender is that what possibly a woman needs to do once she's in the chair or in that position might be a little different from what a man may need to do. For a man, it is quite accepted that you will be a good leader. For a woman, I think there are higher standards. Sometimes you're set up to fail for whatever reasons, and sometimes we set ourselves up for failure. And I think, therefore, those are the things that we possibly need to start to focus on, rather than actually talk about differences in that. Because I think a large number of human traits are equally distributed. They're not either way here or there. So that's one thing that I think we really need to possibly start to talk about. The other thing that I heard very clear, very loudly, and possibly by a lot of people, was this whole question of questions of identity. Yeah, identity of various kinds. I'm a daughter, but I need to be like a son. I'm a woman, but I need to be like a man. I'm this, and I need to be this. And I think all of us would, actually there were several speakers who spoke about the fact that they, one of their motivations was that they wanted to be the son of the family. They wanted to be the son that their parents didn't have. Yeah? And I think it's important, as again a researcher in the social psychology field, I would definitely say, and I'm sure all of us have felt it, that identity conflicts, losses, denial are painful to anyone. Yeah? If that's a male immigrant for whom identity is stolen or made less of, it's painful. If it's a female, it's exactly the same story. And therefore, I think, again, we need to start to think about, actually focus on what does identity losses do, right? What does identity minimalization do? What does it mean to take away my identity because I'm in this position or in this role? And therefore, I think there is possibly now that conversation needs to move to that, because I think the loss of identity, the pain of taking away something from me because I'm now in a different role is equally painful or equally hurtful to anyone who has to go through it. And I think, again, as researchers, as trainers, as practitioners in the field, I think we need to move to start to looking at this rather than just, again, talking about men versus women. The other thing that I think is that we could talk about is that there are questions about what is the best way to behave. Yeah, I think, again, a very valid question. Yeah? I think all of us at different points of time ask this question, how should I behave in this situation? And I think we all make schemas of what is appropriate behavior in this situation. And the only thing, and therefore men do it, women do it, children do it, adults do it, we do it in all kinds of contexts. The only question that we might want to look at in the leadership context and in the organizational context is whether what is defined as appropriate is that gendered. Yeah? And therefore, maybe we start to unpack that and say maybe this is appropriate as well and this is appropriate as well. And I think that question then takes us into this whole thing of, should I show my vulnerability? Should I be crying? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? I don't think there are one, yes, no answers for any of these, but I think it's important to start to unpack, are we looking at the appropriateness in a gendered way? And if we are able to unpack that, then we can talk to our leaders, both men and women, to start saying, maybe we need to look at this differently. And that would possibly make it a more equal field for all of us. The fact that I have to choose is not the problem, but the fact that I might have to choose and actually go with what has been the norm is definitely something that we could look at. I also think we heard a lot about unconscious biases, beating stereotypes. We saw all that examples. One thing that stuck me, and I think that's another thing that we can start to think about, and this is true in a lot of the D&I literature as well, that there is a role of the enlightened leader. We saw two male leaders come up and talk about how they have helped inclusion. Yeah? Why could some of these enlightened leaders not be women? Yeah? Why do these have to be only men? Yeah. And as I have read a lot of this literature, and it is always men. And I think that's the question that we might want to ask. Why couldn't some of these enlightened leaders be the women? Why can't they be driving for the 30, 50, 60% in whichever context that they are? It's almost like I'm shy to ask for it until my male partner or my male leader actually is also okay to say that. I think it's a struggle, but I think it's an important question to ask. So maybe our enlightened leaders' gender needs to change. That's one thing that we need to look at. I think one of the things that we have, it kind of got spoken about, but not so much, is this whole thing of there is internalized misogyny both among men and women. Yeah? There are women who also, the women suffer from possibly the same kind of biases, or they work with the same kind of patriarchal mindset that men work with. And therefore, very often, we need to start talking about what we often call as the jerk territory. Yeah? The jealousy, envy, reaction, competition that I instantly seem to, comes up when I see an equally strong or an equally competent woman leader as a woman, and what do I do with it? I can't wish it away. I can't say, sorry, it doesn't exist for me, but what do we do with it are again questions that we need to look at, because if we are looking at allyship, if we are looking at sisterhood, then these are important questions for us to look at. I think one last thing that I would say is that I think we also need to move away. We also need to start thinking about the language that we use, right? Even the language is patriarchal. Empower. Yeah, we heard about leaders from villages, from women, from the, from the kind of environments that they came, and they took leadership roles, and yet educated urban women still think that they empower others. They empower other women. Yeah, I think it's again the part of patriarchy that we are working with. Again, I'm not saying it's going to go away very soon, but I think can we start to look at, we seem to hold both of these together. I want to see the beauty of these women at Lotus Petal who come and start cooking on their own. At the same time, I still want to use the word empower, liberate, and so on and so forth, which the language itself is something that we need to. Who am I to empower? Who am I to liberate? Who am I to allow? Who am I to ask the question? And these are questions that I think we all need to, and it's not just men, it's also women. It's also women with privilege, with certain kind of background, like you and me, who possibly need to look at this. My last point is that I think we are all very lucky that we are sitting here. Yeah? I don't know how many of you know what the estimated number of Jews that were killed during the Holocaust is. I don't know if you all remember the number. 6 million is what they say. Yeah? And do you know from 2000 to 2019, Indians have killed 9 million women, babies. Yeah, the infanticide numbers in India are staggering. Yeah, and what is interesting is it's not just in India. Indian diaspora in the Silicon Valley, Indian diaspora has exactly the same percentages. Yeah, so the female infanticide in India is 9 million. It's more than the Jews that were killed. So we've had a Holocaust which we don't even recognize and we talk about. I think, and our class kills them. It's not a different class. It's our class that kills them. It's not the poor. It's not the, it's the richest of the states in the country that have the worst of the female ratios, Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana, and so on and so forth. And therefore, I think we really need to start thinking about, there's something more that we need to go beyond, what does leadership, what does corporate throw up for me? And I'm just going to leave you with this. I'm sorry to leave on a pessimistic note, but I think even only if we talk about it, we'll start to address it. And only if we address it, it will come center stage, and maybe we will have a different story to tell, not next year, but maybe 2 years, 3 years from now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Vora. We would now like to invite the Dean of School Welfare, Colonel Mohit Bawa, to please come in front of the stage and present the memento to Professor Vora. No. Thank you so much, everyone. As we come to the end of our conference, I have the pleasure of inviting someone who has been an integral part of our organization and has made a significant contribution to our cause. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Suneet Soni to deliver the vote of thanks. She is PhD in the area of organization culture and post-graduation in human resource management. She is the controller of an examination at BML Munjal University since 2016. She is a seasoned academic administrator and a trainer. Having an experience of over 2 decades, she has worked at some of the leading private universities where she played a key role in developing robust academic systems, policies, and processes. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you is such a prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt by heart. I feel honored and privileged to have got the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing team. First and foremost, I would like to extend my gratitude to Ms. Swati and Professor Shyam Menon for entrusting me with the responsibility of organizing this conference. It was my first time, and I was not very confident. But today, I can relate to the theme of this conference. Where there is a will, there is a way. Thank you, Ms. Swati and Professor Menon, for your exceptional leadership, guidance, and continuous motivation. Next, I would like to thank our Chancellor, Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal, for sparing his precious time to be with us at the conference today. We will ever remain grateful to you, sir. My heartfelt gratitude to the chair of the conference, Dr. Sunita Chugh, for setting the context for the conference. I would also like to thank our keynote speakers, Dr. Sangeeta Reddy and Mr. Rajiv Chhabra, for sharing your ideas with us. Your insights were surely the perfect prologue to the vibrant exchange of ideas. You had set the stage perfectly for the enlightening discussion that we witnessed. I would also like to convey my sincere thanks to all the panelists, Ms. Rohini Seth, Mr. Gaurav Jain, Senior Advocate Jena Kothari, Major General Dr. Rashmi Datta, Ms. Rita Jairath, Ms. Jyoti Dua, Ms. Teeny Shawnee, Ms. Shefalika Panda, Ms. Chavi Rajawat, Mike Clark, and Ms. Anandi Iyer, who have taken the time out of their very busy schedule and shared their valuable opinion, insights, and experiences. Your stories have been truly inspiring and have given us all a glimpse into the lives of women in leadership, highlighting the challenges and triumphs. Your discussions were enticing, while your arguments were incredibly wise. I would also like to thank our moderators, Professor Preetam Barua, Professor Poonam Sehgal, Ms. Swati Munjal, and Professor Jaskiran Arora for moderating the discussion, giving a flow to the panelists to navigate their thoughts effectively. My heartfelt gratitude to Professor Niharika Vora for summarizing the discussions and showing us the way forward. I would like to express my appreciation to all the attendees who have participated in this conference. Your active participation and engagement have made this event a memorable and rewarding one. We would like to thank FICCI, WISE, and G20 Empower, who joined hands with BML Munjal University to organize the DREAM Conference on Women in Leadership in the remarkable month of International Women's Day. The event brought a lot of perspectives on the table on the most important struggles of humanity, finding equality and maintaining a balance. We are very much thankful to all our faculty, colleagues, and non-teaching staff members who always stand by us and motivate us. We feel proud and thank you for making this event a successful one. A special thanks to the marketing and communication team, especially Ms. Nigar and Ms. Rubal. Your contributions have been invaluable for the success of this event. Many thanks to Ms. Vandana Malhotra, Mr. Vinod Prakash, Mr. Devendra Nehra for helping us with the logistics of this conference. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling months in advance. We were fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated student volunteers of School of Management. My apologies to the ones who I may have missed inadvertently. We cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement they have shown and the willingness they have expressed to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. If time is money, then today you have spent millions for us. Thanks to all of you for being patient with us and making this event successful, as without you, there is no show. With this, I would like to conclude and hope that we all take back learnings that will make us better leaders and human beings. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay, it's time for us to wrap up our conference with a high tea to celebrate the successful completion and to give attendees a chance to network and socialize with one another in more relaxed atmosphere. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Let's join back again for the graduation ceremony of Women in Leadership Certificate Program.
Shall I stand on the other side? If you want. Because I'm scared I might fall down. It's on also right now. And the phone is on silent. You can start now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Nirupama.
And I'm Shreni Srivastav.
It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 6th Convocation Ceremony of Women in Leadership Program.
The woods are lovely, dark and deep,
But I have promises to keep,
and miles to go before I sleep.
and miles to go before I sleep.
This extract, taken from Robert Frost's poem, might resonate with many of us today. Even though our Women in Leadership Batch 6 participants are graduating today, this is just another milestone in their journey, and they have a lot to do going ahead.
Before we begin, just a brief about this year's Women in Leadership, or we fondly call it as WIL program. This is the 6th batch, and we have 17 participants graduating today. Out of these 17, 15 employees are from Hero Motocorp and 2 teachers from Modern Public School. We have our eminent guests to make this day special for all the women leaders who are graduating today.
We would like to welcome Professor Shyam Menon, Vice Chancellor, BML Munjal University, Dr. Jaskiran Arora, Dean, SOM BMU, Mr. Mike Clark, Chief Operating Officer and Chief Human Resources Officer, Hero Motocorp, Ms. Swati Munjal, President, BMU, Mr. Sameer Pandey, Head Talent Development and Talent Management, Hero Motocorp, Dr. Sunita Chugh, Program Director, WIL, Mrs. Tapti Chatterjee, Executive Director, Modern Public School. We are also joined by our very special guest today, Ms. Chavi Rajawat.
We also feel privileged to extend our warm welcome to all the deans and assistant deans of all the schools of BMU, faculty, WIL participants and their family members and other dignitaries.
Now, we would like to request Professor Shyam Menon, Vice Chancellor, BMU, to address the gathering. Professor Shyam, yes.
Good evening. This is such a happy occasion to be felicitating the graduates. You're not graduates as yet, graduates for this year's WIL program. And it's, as was said, that these are little steps forward, but they are all in the right direction. So the Women in Leadership program is not just creating leadership in large organizations at the apex, because that alone doesn't mean much. But it's actually bringing out the leadership in each one of us, each one of all of you, at the cellular level, at all levels. That's what this is all about. Because having leaders at the top often does not mean much. As we have seen in South Asia, for instance, all the major countries of South Asia have had women prime ministers. Whether it be Indira Gandhi or Benazir Bhutto or Chandrika Kumaratunga or Sheikh Hasina, they've all been, it's exceptional that this entire subcontinent has had top women leaders. But does that say much about the status of women in the subcontinent? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves, and it's something which we need to keep thinking. So what's more important, I would actually consider that it's a greater significance that people like you are getting into leadership wherever you are, in whichever level you work, in whichever organization, and that, in fact, is going to make all the difference to our society. So I wish you Godspeed, I wish you all the very best, and I hope that this is the beginning of a new adventure, a new journey that you will be starting today It's not a conclusion of anything, it's actually the beginning of something new. I really look forward to seeing you. I'll be a cheerleader, and I'll have the ringside view of the kind of strides that you will make in your lives. God bless you.
Thank you, Professor Menon. The convocation of will is incomplete without having someone introduce us to what will is all about and how can be will journey can impact all the women leaders. So we can have women herself who has been a program director. Now I request Dr. Sunita Chugh to give us an introduction to Will 22-23.
Good evening. Thank you for all your patience and stamina, I must say. The girls who are graduating today, special warm welcome to each one of you. You've been waiting from morning for this moment. 9 months long journey, 3 trimesters, 3 offline sessions on campus, and the remaining sessions in hybrid mode, on online mode. You have gone through it all. How many assignments? 27 to 30 assignments. How many nights of no sleep? A few. It's been a rigorous program, a tough one for them. They're young leaders, as Shyam Menon sir mentioned. They're very young leaders, but at their age, I don't think I had this direction. And one of the reasons why Will was born was because I felt there was a clear need for young, budding women leaders to get a direction and then become corporate leaders, team leaders, national leaders, international leaders, study further, and fly high. So thank you all for your patience and waiting, and I wish you all the best. Will is a beautiful program. It's a labor of love, and our first conference got concluded today, which was based on 6 years of our work. So it is a very symbolically a very important day today, and a beginning and a start of something new. So thank you each one of you for being here and waiting till the end, and all the best to you, each one of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chugh, for giving us an overall picture of what Will is all about. Now I would request Dr. Jaskiran Arora, Dean SOM, BML Munjal University, to address all of us.
Hi, good evening. I'll keep it very short. I'm very, very, very proud of you. And you know that already, right? Navigating through all the torture that I put you through, but I'm so glad that you navigated with flying colors. And this is just the beginning. Right? We would not like to call ourselves enablers because you are enabled. It is just kind of, if we have been able to make you realize that sky is the limit, I think the job is done. With that, lots of love, lots of blessing. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Arora. I really like your statement that, we are all enablers, so thank you for that. Now I would like to request CEO and CHRO, Hero MotoCorp, Mr. Mike Clark, to address all of us. Over to you, Mike.
You got here, hey? Everybody's here? When I came here last year, I promised myself that I would never do a scripted speech, because in these moments, it's all from the heart. And one thing I want to convey is, before I talk about yourselves for a second, Hero MotoCorp, we're really proud of you. We're really proud of the program in terms of what we've achieved with collaboration from the university. I think over the last few years, we've got over 106 graduates, which is great. Not because we want to, again, shout out. We've got 106 people that are going to be better versions of themselves going forward. We've got 106 leaders. You're leaders. You just happen to be women, but you're leaders. And we've got 106 leaders that are going to make a difference to Hero MotoCorp. Maybe people that you're working with, people that you know, people at home. You're going to be making a difference. And that, for more than that, that's why Hero MotoCorp are, we ventured into this, because we want to make a difference, not just in terms of making a small part of your lives and professions a little easier, to nudge you along the way, because we want to make a difference to the globe. And Pavanji has, Dr. Pavan Munjal has clearly taken a leadership stance in terms of whether we're talking about diversity, whether we're talking about sustainability, and making the planet a better place. I think today, when I look down, look at the smiling faces. I mean, if we could capture this from up here, the smiling faces actually make such a difference. And it will actually be this moment today that we're going to say, good job, congratulations, you've graduated. You went through something that was, I'm sure it was fun, but it was hard work. You went through it, you were resilient, you came through it, and you're going to go out to the world and actually have high levels of confidence. What I would say is, be confident. Always be yourself. Don't let anybody say to you that you cannot do. You can, you did, and you can do more. And for everybody at Hero MotoCorp that's part of this, I know we'll have a vote of thanks a little later on. Thank you so much for being part of this. To the professors that are actually giving their heart and soul to each individual. And a small piece I remember, I can't remember which month it was, but I joined you for about 1.5 hours or 2 hours. And I remember at the beginning, it was a little awkward. You were a little silent, but do you remember? The questions and the confidence that came through just in 1.5 hours, 2 hours of just being yourselves, asking those questions that you were curious about. Always, always remain curious. Always ask those questions that you really desperately want to answer. Don't feel ever that you can't ask that question, because the best leaders I've ever come across have always had that curiosity. They take the risks, they ask the questions, and they're always approachable. I hope this program has made you more confident. I felt very much at ease in your company when I was with you. Just make everybody feel at ease in your company as you go forward in your leadership journey, and you'll do very well. So congratulations, and to the BM University, I don't know what we would do without you in this. Thank you, Swati, your leadership, your passion around this program. And actually, we're very pleased right now. We're actually going to launch this program. I don't know if this is a scoop or what I can say, but it just feels natural. We're going to launch this program to our dealership community. So we're reaching out to our whole ecosystem, and I think we've already got our next, I want to call batch, our next group of wonderful leaders are coming down the line. So congratulations again, and thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike, for motivating our graduates today. I'm certain that these 106 women leaders will definitely make a difference.
Now, it's time for a most awaited moment to acknowledge the efforts of the WIL 6 women leaders. Dear WIL participants, you will now be receiving your prized certificates, a symbol of your accomplishment. I request all the participants to come one after the other to receive your certificates when we call out your names. May I request Professor Shyam Menon and Mr. Mike Clark to step forward to facilitate the women leaders. Thank you. We have your first participant. Can we have the slides, please? Abha Sharma.
That's okay.
Bindu Sharma. Deepika Sharma. Gurleen Kaur. Kajal. Koduru Sonia. Manisha Pandey. Nandini Chakravarti.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Professor Menon. You can please be seated right now. So, so now may I request Dr. Jaskiran Arora, Mrs. Tapti Chatterjee, and Ms. Chavi Rajawat to please come forward to felicitate the next set of women leaders. Yes, yes. So next is Neha. So let's give a huge round of applause to Neha, please. Congratulations, Neha. Next we have Poonam. Next, can we have Predna, please? Congratulations, Prerna. And next we will have Ranju Singh. Let's give a huge round of applause. Now I request Sarika Shukla to please come forward. Many congratulations, Sarika. Next is Shatakshi Ojha. Shivangi, please come forward. Congratulations, Shivangi. Can we have Sonia Kumawat, please? Last but not the least, Urvashi Chaudhary. Can we have a huge round of applause? Thank you so much, Dr. Jaskiran Arora, Mrs. Tapti, and Ms. Chavi. You may please move to your respective seats. So this is not all we have today. We have a very few special awards to recognize our women leaders who have done exceptionally well during the program. May I request Mike Clark to again step forward to give our next award. The award for the best performer of WIL 22-23 goes to Kodru Sonia.
On the basis of that, and then the participation, the discussion, project work.
I request Koduru Sonia to speak few words about your experience at WIL, which is very important, and it might inspire everyone out here to join for a WIL 7. Come over here.
Just brought the award with her.
Great evening, everyone. So this is a very special day to me because I missed my BTech convocation, and I'm glad that I got this opportunity to experience the same. So thank you so much. And for me, WIL is not just a program. So it's a journey, I must say, which is associated with so many projects, simulations, etc., etc. But one thing which I really like is it's not that I feel pride because I got better marks or I scored better, but it's because that I witness a better me, a courageous me, I would say. So thank you so much. And I have learned many new things and made some new networks. I'm really happy for that. And I have gained a lot of insights through this program. And you know, I started reading books, which was a very difficult task of mine. So, and I am sure many would have learned many new things. So thank you so much. And I would like to thank Sunita ma'am for beautifully designing this program. And of course, Hero Motorcorp for giving me this opportunity. So thank you so much. I feel so empowered, and I must suggest this to each and every woman out there to, you know, enroll to this program and feel themselves empowered. So thank you so much. And I know all of you must have been so tired, but I just would like to end this with a saying, there's so much of capability inside you, and it's you who is stopping from, you know, reaching greater heights. So just always try to be a better person and keep growing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sonia, that was so inspiring. We also had action-linked learning project presentation, and the best performer award for ALPS goes to Shatakshi Oja. May I request Mr. Mike Clark, please do the honors. Shatakshi, please come over here, and we want to listen from you what you have learned from ALPS.
Good evening, all. Thank you very much for this honor. As I am working in Hero Motorcorp since 3.5 years, and this program is very much helpful in enhancing knowledge and learn new things. So in my project, I also implement all the learning of WIL which I taught in this program, and this will helpful in my project also. So thank you very much, all the faculty member of WIL and also Hero Motorcorp. Thank you all.
This time we had one special award, which is an all-rounder award for Will 6, which goes to Miss Nandini Chakravarti. May I request Miss Chavi to please hand over these certificates. Miss Chavi. Tapti ma'am, please. It's a proud moment for Modern Public School. And this is the first time we had teachers in WIL program, and they did excellently well. It's an inspiration. Mrs. Nandini, please come over the stage and please share your word of, what to say? I know it is very emotional for you.
Good evening, everyone. Abha calls us Munna Bhai MBBS of Will program because, of course, you have understood our age. Nevertheless, it was an enriching experience. We have learned a lot. We have developed a lot of things. There were a lot of questions in our mind, which has been given words now. One thing now I'm bubbling with is the excitement to share this in my community. When I say community, is other teachers. Sorry, because teaching is one profession where this leadership program is lacking. And I really request all of you, all educators, professors, please dive in and help us. We want to get into teaching. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chakravarti, and a huge round of applause for all the winners. It was well deserved. So today, we have Ms. Chavi Rajawat as our keynote speaker. Chavi is an alumna of Lady Shri Ram College, and she followed it up with business management from Pune. She worked in the corporate sector for about 7 years, during which she undertook myriad roles in media, hospitality, and the telecom industry. She also served 2 terms as the head of Panchayat in Soda Village and paved the way for more women sarpanch to emerge. I request now to her to address the audience.
Before I begin, I want a lovely photo of all you lovely people with a big smile. Can I get that? All right? At the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. And congratulations to all of you. I'm honored to be here, and I really want to thank BML University and Hero MotoCorp for putting this together, because I think I understand this is the 6th cohort, and we've had, what, 91 graduates so far?
106.
Oh, 106. Okay, I got the number wrong. So more than 100, which is fantastic. I personally feel that everyone, each one of us, is empowered. We already are leaders, teachers, non-teachers, homemakers, men, women, children, youth. The quality exists in all of us. What is needed is for the tools to be given to us to enhance those certain aspects of each one of us that are unique to us. And I think what's required is for us to understand that, recognize that, and continuously learn to sharpen the learning we get over time and understand what those tools are. And in those moments where you think the shine is diminishing, do not hesitate in asking and reaching out. It's something that culturally we are not taught to do, more so women than men. But I think that is what is required. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're vulnerable. It just means you're reaching out because you need a support system, and there's no harm in asking it. Because the more the minds that come together, the more the people that come together, the bigger the impact of that is going to be. And again, I feel something that culturally we are not taught enough is teamwork, collaborations. And the joy of that, which I'm guessing you may have learned in the program, and I love how it is so beautifully timed, 9 months, I understand. Great, so you're like reborn now, new birth. So onwards onto that journey, just remember, and I think this is something that's often spoken of, both Mike and all the professors, in fact, must be telling you this repeatedly. If not, I'm gonna re-emphasize that to me personally, as I said, I feel all of us are empowered, but what is important is for us to understand who we are as an individual, be true to yourself. So if you've not figured that bit out, make sure you do. Because when you're true to your core, then no dream is impossible to achieve. Don't try and fit in. I often see, especially when I look at the next generation, there seems to be this desire to fit in. You're caught up in how much the other has, or which car, or what brand the other person is wearing, and you want the same. That is not what should define you. It is your individuality, your uniqueness, and no one can ever take that away from you. So recognize that, embrace it, learn to be sensitive, be empathetic, embrace that as a quality, as a tool of power, not as a sign of weakness, because it is not. But unfortunately, we are taught, we tend to put things in boxes. We need to change that and not look through those myopic, limited perspectives. Create your own experiences and learn from those, rather than aping what someone else has blindly told you and question it. Yes, there will be challenges, but there's a beauty in those challenges. There's beauty in your ability to stand tall against whatever comes your way. And remember, life is not a failure till you don't give up. So if, for an instance, you set out on a path and you've not been successful, does not mean you have failed. It just means you need to try it, try achieving it differently, use a different methodology. But it's not a failure. So don't look for certificates from the outside world or from someone else. As Sonia rightfully pointed out, you have to recognize yourself and challenge yourself each day so that you're a better human being than the previous day. So if you can do that, you have the tools within you. So use those, use the tools that have been given to you. I think you are amongst the privileged lot to have such a program made available to you, and thank you for taking it. And recognize the fact that you can pay it forward by sharing your learnings with the people around you, whether you're teaching in a school, or you're working in an organization, or you're doing something for your own self. Enjoy the beauty of sharing, in giving, in learning and teaching. And I think that is what cumulatively makes a beautiful leader, which I see in each one of you. Before I end, I'd just like for all of you to pull your shoulders back, sit straight, and wear yourself with pride. And remember, that's the posture you need to embrace every day in your entire life. Thank you for having me here, and congratulations and all the best to all of you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jawad. I think that just like me, everyone else has also been inspired by your lovely words, and so many takeaways for all of us, especially that how we should embrace ourselves, not put ourselves in any boxes, and creating our own experiences and learning from them. So thank you again.
Thank you, Srini. Now we are on the verge of completing the convocation, but it's not possible without thanking those who have made this journey. This program today and the ceremony, what we went through today, has a lot of hard work put in. So I would request Mr. Samir Pandey for vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Nirupama. What Sonia, Satakshi and Nandini just said kind of sums up the vote of thanks, so I needn't say any more. But I have to, because there are lots and lots of work that goes behind the scenes which needs to be acknowledged. I'll start with my favorite shlok that I do every time. Yatra narestu pujyate ramate tatra devta, which means where women are honored, worshipped, and taken care of, the gods reside in that place. At the very start, I would like to thank all those people who've been involved for the past 6 years in conceptualizing and designing this program, which is where it is today. And we have had 6 successful batches of this program. We've been improving it from time to time. I was just talking to Dr. Jaskiran Arora that we have, last year, we introduced the Action Learning Project, which is the level 4 of our learning effectiveness measurement. And we proudly say that in various forums. A big thanks to the BML Munjal University, which has been our partner through these years in delivering this program. A big thanks to Mike, our COO and CHRO, who's the principal sponsor of this program. Without his guidance and inputs from time to time, we would not reach where we are. Mrs. Swati Munjal, thanks for your support. Professor Shyam Menon, Professor Dr. Jaskiran Arora, and Professor Shantanil Dasgupta. A big thank you to Dr. Sunjita Chog. What can I say? words are not enough. If a camera was placed here, and as your name was called to speak a few words, you should have seen the gleam in all the participants' eyes. That's... The passion and the drive that Sunita shows in this program is evident from number of calls that we have and the things that she wants to drive. She eventually has her way. So even if we are counting some suggestion, both Anubhuti, I and Srini, we give up after some time. Okay, let Sunita have her way. Okay. So I would like to thank all the managers of all the participants who've been instrumental in allocating you for this project. And I'm sure there have been some conversations between you and the managers as you are. And I know how tiresome the whole schedule is. So a big thank you to your managers who you can go and communicate. Of course, Anubhuti and Srini from the talent development team, who are like pillars and who don't let me get into this because they are the ones who manage it from end to end. So a big thank you for you. The extended team of BML Munjal University, which is Mr. Devendra Nehra ji, as we fondly call you, you are again a pillar. Professor Nirupama, she's been one of the alumni as well, batch 3 if I remember correctly. And of course, Miss Shubhangi and Professor Anubha. No, sir, Prashant. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thank you very much for being here and encouraging the participants and students. We'll be back next year with the 7th batch, and we have some people visiting from the company who wanted to see the convocation. We've been able to spare them and they are here. So all the best to them and all the best to you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir, for your kind words. Now I request Ms. Swati Munjal, President BMU, to give her closing remark on WIL conference and convocation. It's been a long day. A lot of things happened from morning to evening. And the best part is we are all still smiling. Yeah?
You know, when they were planning the program, I said, I just need 2 minutes at the end. And I said, I'll not take longer than that, because I think we can't close this day today without acknowledging few more people. I know, thanks Samir for doing most of my job, so thank you for that. But you know, there is a ritual we always do when we graduate students at BMU. And this has started from almost year one. I think most of you who've been there from the beginning know this, that we make all the graduates stand up, so please stand up. We make them fold their hands, you know, you remember, right, Jaskiran, Devinder, I think people who are in the room for long, in the university for long would remember it. And we ask them for a second to thank everyone in their hearts, whoever, even Devendra Nehra remembers it, see. So we ask them to thank everyone in their hearts who has helped them reach where they are today. You know, we all are so action-oriented that at times we don't stop and thank ourselves and thank even ourselves and the people around us who've helped reach where we are. So our parents, our siblings, our spouses, our friends, our colleagues, our bosses, you know, everyone. So attitude of gratitude. With that, I want to congratulate all of you who are graduating. I see beautiful smiles. Wonderful to see you all graduate, and may your journey of learning continue. Thank you. Please sit down. You know, today's conference, I must say that I know I'm going beyond 2 minutes, but I will take a minute. You know, about a year back, I think Mike had visited the university, and we were sitting in my office, and it was in that oval table we were sitting, and Mike said to me, you know, you got to amplify this will. you got to make it bigger, you know. And I said, I just looked at him and I said, what do you mean, Mike? He says, you don't know, you're doing a fantastic job, but you got to get more companies, more people involved in something what you're doing. So actually that was the seed. And that's what I mentioned to you, Mike, a few hours back, that honestly, that was the seed which got planted in my mind, that we need to do something about it and make it bigger. And of course, the seed has been watered by Dr. Menon, and he encouraged it. And I think he brought in very different ideas as well to the conference. The whole grassroots idea was brought in by him, that we must talk about the grassroots as well, because most conferences are talked about with people who are in Fortune, Forbes 500 magazine covers, that those are the women leaders. But what about the women who actually are at grassroots level and are never talked about? So thanks for bringing that element, because I did take that on. So thank you, Mike, planting the seed, and thank you, Dr. Menon. And I think I want to add that with Mike's thought in my mind, 2 or 3 things have happened or are happening. One is this conference, as you see, which is obviously been executed today. Second is that WIL is no more become only HMCL now. You know, which is also was Mike's idea to me. And I think we see schools participating this year, and hopefully I see FICCI is already talking about it. In fact, G20 is so excited that that Dr. Reddy, Sunita Reddy has said that we want to keep the curriculum of of this WIL program. We want to give it as a gift to our next G20 hosting company, so they know that this is something that we were doing it as part of G20 and we want to do it. So it's already the seeds. The more people are hearing about it and they want to take it forward. So it's companies, it's organizations, industrial organizations, schools, and I have given a mandate, you must know this, to our outreach team, that we must start a school leadership program, because I agree, Nandini, there are very few leaders programs for schools, and I think we must become thought leaders in that and launch one. So I hope that, like Rajiv said right in the early, jab tak danda nahi hota to hota nahi hai. So I hope the outreach team has some danda and they work on it, so which is our school outreach team. So I hope we are able to launch that program also in the coming year in some format. With that, I just wanted to talk about amplification of WIL. So thank you, Mike. And I want to end the day with acknowledging our 2 bandmasters, chairwomen. They were the women who we danced to the tunes of for the last 2 months. Suneet Soni and Sunita Chok. I'd request you both to come in front. You know, you really played the tunes, and I think Samir knows it already. So I think they played the tunes, and we all said, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that. So, but honestly, we saw a beautiful symphony orchestra being produced, and we said, why should we disturb it? Let them do what they're doing. So fantastic job. Both of you did a great job. One took on something which the other didn't do. The other took on something. They balanced out so beautifully, and we didn't even know. And we just said, music is being played. Let's them just do the show. So thank you for that. You both put the wonderful conference together. Wonderful set of panelists, wonderful set of moderators, great ideas, great thoughts. I mean, I don't want to go over it. Nihalika, I think, summarized it beautifully, and I think we'll go with that. But I want to also thank all the student volunteers at the back. Come on, guys, for yourselves. Why don't you stand up and just let everybody in the room know that, wow. So let's do a 3 rounds of hip hip, hip hip, hip hip. Wonderful, guys. Thank you so much. You guys were the stars, right from 6 in the morning. And I spoke to a few of you and you said, ma'am, we practiced it 10 times. I said, really? Oh, God. So you guys really did a fantastic job. This show couldn't have been done. This was, by the way, this was 100% student-driven conference, which means students drove everything. Whatever you saw, right from everything was driven by students. The only ideation which both the chair ladies did was about the content, but rest everything student drove it. So great job to that. And I know Ravi is not here, but I want to also thank Raman Khan Munjal Foundation. I think they and Professor Devinder is gone or here, I don't know, but even both of them are doing a fantastic job, and they do need to be acknowledged. So with that, I just want to end the day. I hope I haven't, oh yeah, of course I forgot. Nigar, Rubal, come on guys, come out front. Nigar, Rubal, they're not in the room. These ladies have worked tirelessly, and I know I'm forgetting more people which I will get bumped about, but Negar is our head of communications. Shantanil is also stood up. Thank you, Shantanil. He also actually, no, I was going to come to you, Shantanil, just 1 second. I was going to actually bring it up that this conference was led mostly by women, but there was one man behind all the women, and that was Shantanil. So with that, Shantanil, thank you so much. Your involvement in making sure different corporates come out, and your team's involvement was fantastic. And I don't know, Negar, Rubal have vanished, but please, whoever sees them, tell them they were acknowledged. We appreciate what they do. They have sleepless nights, I know that. I see the messages, and I don't think we can do any conference or event without these two ladies at BMU. So thank you so much. And I hope if I've forgotten anyone, Rubal is to blame, not me, because I asked her the list. But thank you so much for putting this conference together, for this wonderful convocation, and for a beautiful day. Thank you. Thank you, Nirupama.
You want to make an announcement? Thank you, Swati ma'am. May I request Professor Shyam Menon to give the token of love to Ms. Chevi, who is present here amongst us.
With love.
Yes, with love. She's been so humble and nice to us, and the words what she shared with us definitely will keep a mark in our mind. Isn't it, girls? Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming over here and agreeing to give a keynote address for the convocation. Ma'am, please. Yeah. Maybe in the front.
Stand here, I think.
Thank you, Professor Menon, and thank you, Ms. Chevi, for being here with us. And you have spent the entire day with us. Thank you so much. I will. I'll announce that. I'm coming to that. And yes, thank you everyone for joining us today for the convocation as well as the conference. And last but not least, the one which I like the most, taking photographs. So I request all the WIL participants to come forward and take the photographs with the dignitaries. It is going to be a memorable photograph for you all to take it forward. Yeah, maybe they can stand in this. Yeah. Professor Menon, maybe you can step over. Can I give my... All the deans, schools of deans, please join us for the photograph. Professors, please join us for the photographs. Colonel Baba sir, please. Thank you, everyone. Participants, you need to leave your gowns. You need to leave your gowns at the counter where you received the gowns.